Didn't see you there. Sorry about that. Welcome back to my car shop. Today we've got a no crank condition here on the 74 Swinger. So we're going to tear into this and talk about the seatbelt interlock and a couple of other issues that could be a possible problem on this car. So if you want to get into diagnostics, this is what we want to do today. Let's watch the show intro and I'll see you in 3 seconds.
Working out of a 100-year-old refurbished barn, bringing 35 years of experience to projects considered beyond repair. Vision, creativity, and problem solving are essential tools in this place. Watch as we transform junk into polished metal miracles. This is My Car's Shop.
One of the things that vexes me about the internet is when somebody posts a problem with a car, people are immediately starting to throw parts at it. In other words, ask a question on the 74 Swinger and we'll get 10 different answers on what parts I need to throw at it to make that work. And that's just poor diagnostics. I am a technician by certification and by background. I spent years as a professional mechanic before I went into other endeavors. And so I thought it would be worthy to spend some time talking about how to diagnose something like this, particularly on the 74 Swinger, which has the seatbelt interlock. I'll make a couple clarifications here. I've already bypassed that on this car a long time ago. The seatbelt interlock relay has been snipped out of it and the wiring has been redone temporarily because we replaced the front seat. The seat that's in this is actually out of a 71 Demon. It's not a 74 Swinger seat. So the interlock mechanism that was in the seat was obviously disconnected a long time ago. And even though it was still cranking after that, eventually it quit because I believe the interlock relay was messed up. And so I just bypassed it because this engine is not staying in this car. I have a complete 73 318 engine and transmission in the back to bolt into this car at some point. But anyway, I want to get into diagnosing because right now it had been cranking fine, and right now it doesn't anymore. When you turn the key, nothing happens. So there could be a number of things. So the first thing we want to do is get out a test light or a voltmeter and start diagnosing what the issue actually might be with this car. I have 2 test lights. I have my expensive low impedance test light that I bought from Snap-on 30 years ago when I was a technician. This one is designed to not feed back into electronic circuits and possibly blow computer circuits and so forth. And then I have my El Cheapo $3.99 at the auto parts one as well, and so I don't even know which ones of these work if either. So okay, that one works. This is probably the one I'm going to use because it's nice and bright. This one isn't quite as bright, and I'm thinking I have a wiring issue on this. I need to pull it apart. Oh, it does work, but it's not as bright, so I'm going to use the El Cheapo, even though I have this probably what I paid back in 1990-ish, probably 50 bucks for it back in the day. I can't even imagine what it would cost today. So we know we have a working test light, and I'll get into what I've done to this car here to bypass that seatbelt thing, but again, I want to just double check the test light, make sure it's good. Okay, so I want to go down here first to my starter relay and find out for sure if when I turn the key, we're getting voltage from the yellow wire, and that could be where the issue is right there, from the yellow wire to the relay. I hope we are, because if we're not, that means it's going to be a whole lot more complicated. Is it voltage or ground? I don't remember what it's supposed to be actually. We're going to find out. So I'm going to go crank the key and you'll see before I do what's going on. Nothing. Let's see if it's a ground. I don't remember. I'd have to break out a wiring schematic, which I have one for this because that's how I bypassed the... Oh, okay, it's interesting. Oh yeah, that makes sense because I have this wire hooked up here. So that is a, there should be a ground wire then. So I'm puzzled a little bit. I got to think about this. Hold on. In a couple minutes here and just explain a few things on the starter relay. So we have 12-volt battery. This is the starter relay, starter solenoid, I should say, feed. So this brown one goes down to the starter, and this one together are what make the starter run. This is the neutral safety switch, which is a ground interlock, and then this yellow wire here, when you hit the ignition switch, that energizes the relay here and causes the relay points to close, bringing voltage into the relay and making it start. So I gotta think about why I went and put this red wire up to the negative of the battery, because that's interesting. I'm not sure about that. So I gotta think about that for a minute, but that's how this works. And I don't have voltage right here to this. So I've got to think about why I ran this other wire for the interlock. That's not quite making sense to me. All right, that's why, and I should have known this. It's just been a while. This is actually the seatbelt interlock / neutral safety switch wire, and this brown wire here is the wire that comes from the ignition switch and puts voltage to the solenoid. So my bad on that. Like I said, it's been a while since I worked on one of these. So I don't have, as far as I know, I don't have power here, so I need to check that and see what's going on. But this is just a ground, and so I've bypassed that seatbelt interlock by running this directly up to the battery temporarily, which I will go through and fix all of that properly once I have the other engine in and so forth, so that we have a proper neutral safety switch. But right now I'm just using that to bypass the seatbelt interlock. 74 was the only year that had a seatbelt interlock, so this is a very unique thing to 74, and when it stopped cranking a long time ago, probably when my son was still driving it, I just did this quick bypass so that it would start for him. And being as I don't ever drive it anywhere, it's not on the road, it's not been that big a deal around here, but I do need to get this fixed properly at some point. So right now I have my test light hooked up to the power wire from the ignition switch, which I've used to, the little yellow wire is the one that comes out from the ignition switch, and I tied the brown wire into it that feeds the relay. So I'm going to check the voltage here and see if we have voltage to that union, because I just twisted it together. That may be where my only problem is. So let's see if we crank this open. Yep, okay, so when I hit the key, it is energizing there. So we have power. Now, if you remember right, I believe we tested that on the other end, and it didn't have power. So my guess is this hand-twisted cobble job that I did here is the problem. So I'm going to take this down to here, stick this in, and see if we have voltage to this at this point, which we didn't before. You saw that, but maybe with my mucking with it up here, it is now. Okay, so now we have power there. Now the issue is putting power into this going to make it crank. So I didn't have that power before. And again, I'm sharing my diagnostic thought with you because I didn't come into this doing my homework. I'm kind of figuring out as I go. I did take a minute and glance at a wiring diagram after I started this video. But I wanted to share this with you so that you could see my diagnostic thought process, not just come in here saying I already know what's wrong, because I don't know why it's cranking. I suspected the starter relay may be bad, or it was this connection here. So if I hook this up now and it doesn't crank, then we probably need to take the relay out because it's not working properly. But if it does crank, then it's this connection here, and I'll need to fix that. So it was just simply because I twisted these wires together and didn't fix it properly, which again, I didn't intend to fix it properly back then. It was just so that I could drive the car in and out. So you saw it crank, and obviously we had voltage here. You saw that. And I'm just going back because I didn't have the camera in the right position. So the issue is this cobble job that I did right here. 6 years ago, I just twisted those. Once I figured out the wiring and what I was doing to bypass that seatbelt interlock, I just quickly buzzed this together, and this used to come in here to this seatbelt interlock relay, blah blah blah, whatever, and I just hacked it together, ran it down there, and of course it's worked fine ever since. And that was simply to just move it around here on the property and etc. So what I need to do is fix this connection, so I'm going to put either a butt connector or a spade connector. We'll see what I've got in my electrical drawer, and we'll get this, we'll probably recut these wires and crimp them down properly and so forth, and do this connection better. Again, it's going to all get changed eventually when I put the 318 in here, but for now, good enough. Like I said, it's just to move the car around the property here, so it doesn't even really have brakes right now. I think the rear brakes blew a line, and so it's just to, like I said, I try to keep every car that I can running because I hate pushing cars. So there's only a couple that don't run right now that are here, the Challenger and the Oakland. I think everything else is running. So I wanted to be able to start them and move them around because I've spent too much time in my life pushing cars. I think I remember that all my spade connectors are somewhere in the house from another project, so I'm going to use a Scotch lock. I don't care for these, but again, this is only temporary, and it'll be better than wires twisted together. So I'm just cutting off the ends. Remember that a Scotch lock is technically supposed to be used for connecting a wire to a wire that's like an inline situation, but this will work fine. Let's see here. So we'll shove that one in there, and we'll shove this one in here, like so. Let's get them squeezed together. I know you can't see what I'm doing. Sorry. There we go. Okay, that should work. A little better than wires twisted together. It'll last another 3 or 4 years, and I haven't changed the engine in it. I'll deal with it. Let's see if it cranks now. No crank. Okay, so something's going on weird here. What is going on? Why did that not crank? Let's see if we have voltage. You heard it crank. It did crank. Let's see if we have a light there now. Okay. So I think we have a combination of issues. My guess is we don't have a good contact down here on this relay either. So I need to clean that up just a little bit. Let's see if it cranks now after I've taken that off and put it back on. I want to make sure that my test light didn't fall down into the... There it is. Probably what I need to do is put a little dielectric grease on this connector, but I don't know if I have any out here. I don't know if I have any more at all. I'll have to look around a little bit. But in the meantime, I'll get a little bit of sandpaper and just clean that terminal up, and hopefully that takes care of the issue. Not trying to be carried away with it, just clean it up a little bit. I think I do maybe have some dielectric grease in the house now that I think about it. I'll have to go look. Seems like that's what always happens, is stuff gravitates to the house for some other project and doesn't find its way back out here. So I suppose the other problem could be in the crimp here as well, but I tend to doubt it. I'm going to see if I can sneak down in there a little bit. Just clean that up. At least get a little scratch on it. Scratch. The other thing I could do is slip a screwdriver in there and tighten it up, but let's see if this does it. No crank again. So I'm wondering if it's the contact there. I know we had an issue here, so we might have had multiple issues. All right, let's see if we've got voltage to that. Well, this thing's being a little bugger, isn't it? You watch, as soon as I do that, it's going to crank. Well, we definitely have voltage there now. So maybe we do have a relay issue going on here. Let's see, how can I test that? I need a little jumper wire to go from here down to here. 90% sure that maybe, well, I'm not 90% sure, but I really am thinking maybe it's either a contact issue on this, or we do have a bad relay. Man, I don't know if I have another one. Let me wiggle that a little bit, see what happens. All right. I got a feeling it's either the relay itself or just the connection. I don't think it's the wire connection to the relay. I'm wondering if it's the it's a peened over piece of brass basically that's kind of smashed, and I'm wondering if that's just got a little corrosion inside. So we may just pull that out of there. Take a look at it. It's only two 7/16 bolts that hold it in, and that may be the best solution here is pull that out. So let's pull it out and take a look at it. Oh, I like to pull the big nut off of there first. Move that out of your way a little bit so you can see better. It's easier to get it off when it's still bolted to the fender well. So that's disconnecting the battery cable itself. Make sure you always disconnect your negative on your battery before you start working on electrical. Washer. 2 wires on there. There's a fusible link and the battery cable itself. Okay. Well, those are out of the way. Now let's get the relay itself out of there. Wires off, and we'll see. Yep, that's what it is. You can see that it's the terminals loose. I'll show you. Let me get this last connection off here. Use the right tool for the job, right? Yeah. I'll have to go find another tool. There we go. This will work. Don't skewer yourself in the hand with a screwdriver. It can hurt. I'm pretty sure that at some point we had replaced this unit, and it's no surprise to me that it could be an issue. I think what's going on here, if I can get you in there close enough, this terminal is loose. So my guess is that corrosion has gotten between this terminal and the rivet here, and caused it to lose contact. So I may just pull this unit apart and we'll see if we can peen that down a little better. And I also could run some solder in there, I suppose. But I think I've seen this happen before. These are just cheap replacement parts. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pop the cover off of this and check that contact, that connection, and verify that's what's going on. I may be able to just peen it down harder, and that'll fix it. I could run some solder on it, that might fix it, but just gonna open this up. Yeah, I know. I could go buy one of these for 10 bucks or whatever it is, but why spend money I don't have to when I can fix it? So it's this connection right here, and you can see what happens is there is it's like a brass rivet that connects this inner contact with this outer contact, and this one here, like I said, you can see how loose it is, so it's corroded, and I'm 99.9% sure that's what the issue is here. Okay, so I just put a drift in here and I just bent the tab back just to give me some room. I'm going to be careful, the wire's out of the way. I'm going to put this right on the head of the rivet on the back side, and I take my hammer, she's tight as tight can be now. No more wiggle wiggle. So that should do it. So I'm going to bend my tabs up carefully. make sure this one's not, this one's loose too, so I'm going to go ahead and fix this one while I'm here. Again, this is a cheap aftermarket part that I bought years ago. Want to make darn sure that that little hair wire on the other side is not in the way. Oh, see, we just broke it off. So now we got to do a plan B, which I always have one. You know that. Let me clarify by saying I will replace this since it broke. This was just a gamble, but I'm going to try to temporarily fix it right now just because I can. So I have two options here. One is to try to just solder that little spade back on. And this was the ground side from the neutral safety switch. And that has to be grounded. All right, okay, right here. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can solder that back on there. If I can't, we'll just solder a wire to it and put a spade connector on the end of it, and it'll be fine. So I've got it soldered back on there. It's still hotter than Hades. We didn't lose any of the connection on the backside, so that's good. Fingers are in the way, sorry. So everything looks good back here yet. So that's always a danger, but you know, it's not going to be the most durable thing in the world. I will replace it. But for now, it's going to work. Hopefully this fixed this. It's tempting to just go ahead and run some solder on this one while I'm there. But I've got to heat it up so much to do that, and I am concerned about loosening the solder joint back here. So it's tight now, we'll see. So as I was putting it back together again, I still got two tabs to bend down, but this one started to crack a little bit, so I just went ahead and ran some solder on there. And so it's nice and tight now. I'm not going to get too froggy with it, but I just got to peen these two down now and we'll be good to go. So again, if this had worked, I wouldn't even bother replacing this. I would have saved 10 bucks, but it's not even about the saving the money. It's just, I don't know. It's just me. I guess I like fixing stuff. So to me, this is more fun to fix something than just to go out and buy a part. Will I go buy one now the way this is? Yeah, probably once I get to put it on the road, because I don't want to have problems out on the road. But for running around the farm here and stuff, moving in and out of the shop, this is going to work just fine. And, you know, so I put off the expense for now. I'll pick one up, or I might run across one in the box here and not have to buy one. I probably have a bunch of these somewhere. Point is, I just wanted to share with you that you can, you don't have to just buy parts, you know. You be a technician, not a parts replacer. Moment of truth, right? Let's get her back on the car and see if all of that was for nothing. So let's see if she works. Obviously, I'm pretty confident that it's going to, or I wouldn't have done the episode. I wouldn't have wasted your time. I would have just gone and gotten a new one. But again, for the context of this, just moving it in and out of the shop and so forth, this is fine. And I am sure that I have one upstairs somewhere. No, Brad, I'm not taking one off to 73. I know what you're thinking, buddy. So if you get it on there straight, there we go. I do have to be careful with those, obviously. They're just a little weak. Come on, get in there. Harder. There we go. All right, just get a screwdriver on that and we'll be good to go. All right, moment of truth. Either I look like a fool or I look like I actually might know what I'm doing. No, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it anyway. So what does it matter? Let's see if it cranks. Yep, good enough. Now I can putz it around here and not have to come out here with a screwdriver and short it. And like I said, I'll dig around and come up with another one of those upstairs. I'm sure I've got one. But for now, it'll work. Probably last that way for a long time. If I had had some silicone bronze rod for the TIG welder, I could have done that a little bit stronger. That solder probably will hold pretty well. But I don't want to obviously chance that out on the road. Not that I can't take a screwdriver and come here and every Mopar is simple that way. So if you did get stranded out on the road, it's easy enough to bypass that. But I still would feel better having one that's not soldered together. But for now, good enough. So hopefully you learned something and learn how to diagnose an issue rather than just throw parts at it. If I had thrown that part at it, it would have fixed it. But you know, we found a bad connection up here as well as a bad connection down here, so we had two intermittent areas and we've got those fixed up now, and I won't have to be out here farting around with it trying to get it to start and having to do the screwdriver thing. As my friend Mark has so aptly said many times, you've met him on the show here. I'm not sure what episode it was, maybe episode 21, where we were putting the door back on the Challenger and taking off some of the roof trim. Anyway, as Marcus so aptly said, it's not so much the work that we do on the channel as it is sharing the thought processes behind the work. I'm always the guy who wants to fix something rather than just buy something new. So again, I will replace that. I've said that ad nauseum. I get that. But by the same token, there's a lot a guy can do if he wants to spend a little bit of time, and like I said, I enjoy doing it. I have fun. So, you know, if we look at what we're doing here, we make the hobby affordable by taking time to fix things rather than just throwing money at it. We fixed the plasma cutter. The part cost nothing to fix the plasma cutter. To buy a new plasma cutter like the one I had is $2,500. It cost me nothing except a trip to Bay City, which is about 40 minutes away. Company was very gracious over there to give us that 10 ohm, 10K resistor that we needed to fix that. We don't spend $600 on frame rails or $1,200 or $1,500 on a rear floor pan. So you can see how the mindset can start to save you a lot of money and enable you to do things that you might not otherwise be able to do and make the hobby unreachable. Now, I do want to say one thing. I am a business person, I own businesses, and I don't want people falling into a poverty mindset. We need to balance out the cost of doing something versus the time and what our energy could be spent on. As one guy said, I was looking at he had a 40s Chevy pickup that he was looking at restoring. And I suggested that I could teach him and his sons how to fix the truck. And he said, I would much rather spend my time focused on my business and just make the money and pay somebody else. So there is that, and I get that. I'm fortunate enough that I enjoy doing this. But it's not a depression mentality either. It's not a poverty mindset. It's a balance always. Do I buy it? Do I fix it? Do I buy it? Do I fix it? But part of the channel here, bought a quarter panel for the Challenger. Obviously, $150 a Sherman part. I know a lot of you guys don't like Sherman parts. I enjoy them because with my metal fabbing skills, I can make them look really good. This is a Sherman panel on the Dart, etc., etc. So, time and place, weigh the cost. That's my point, is you can fix a lot more stuff than you realize. There's so much stuff that gets thrown to the curb in this world, and if you just have a little bit of skill, you can fix it and end up with some really cool stuff. and it costs you almost nothing. Taking on projects that others deem beyond repair. That's what we're about here. Sharing the details of how to fix things. That's what My Car's Shop is all about. That's what I do here, and that's why I can have so many cars, is I'm always making that trade-off. Buying things for pennies on the dollar, putting my time and energy and effort into it, and being able to create polished metal miracles. That's what this channel is all about. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. We just did an episode on Sunday about the 68 Pro Street Dart GTS. Check that out. You might enjoy that one. That's been really popular already on the channel. There's a lot of other things going on here. We are on Facebook. We're on Instagram /MyCarShop. Spread the word. Get other people to subscribe to the channel. Once we can get our channel up over that 1,000 mark, we're going to be able to do a lot more of exciting things, more behind the scenes stuff. We're going to create a members area. There's just a lot of things that we're going to be able to do. We'll be able to do live chat right here from the shop. Just a lot of exciting things. So help spread the word, help grow the channel, because this is our channel. Drop comments down there about what you like. Drop comments down there about your thoughts. Also, over on Facebook, there is a thread pinned to the top of the page called Show Us Your Junk. Post pictures over there. A bunch of you are now, of the projects you're working on the stuff you're fixing. Go over there, post pictures of the stuff you're doing. Also, this coming Friday, just a few days from now, on the channel, on the show, we're going to be doing that super clean drawing for those super clean products. So if you didn't see that episode, check that out. The Super Clean giveaway. Super Clean is partnering with us here on the channel. They've offered us product to feature. We like their product, and we want to share that product with you. If you have a United States mailing address, go over there, watch that 5-minute episode, comment accordingly, and you'll be in the drawing for next Friday. And as I mentioned, I'm hoping to get that pretty little blonde out here to do the drawing with me. So we'll see you then, and as always, guys, rock on.